awful. I mean, just awful. In terms of public perception, I don't know if you could have scripted a week this bad for Major League Baseball. This is supposed to be their biggest time of year. For 1, maybe 2 weeks, this is supposed to be the time when Major League Baseball almost captures mainstream attention. Almost. Instead of media outlets burying Major League Baseball next to the WNBA like they do throughout the regular season, this is the time of year where Major League Baseball finally makes the bottom of the front page. Now, they're still not the main headline. They're still not the leading story. Baseball's never going to be the star, but for 1 or 2 weeks in October, Major League Baseball, they managed to become the co-star. We ignore them 50 weeks per year, and we give them a little bit of attention for the other 2. Now, the good news for Rob Manfred, Major League Baseball did manage to generate headlines and mainstream interest this week. The problem is, it was for all the wrong reasons. No one is talking about the playoffs. No one is talking about the painfully boring game on the field. Who's left in the playoffs? Does anyone know? Does anyone care? Was anyone watching the divisional round yesterday afternoon? I know I wasn't. I was watching college football, the real American pastime. This week started with Rob Manfred going through the side effects that are common with patients who are diagnosed with the woke fungus. Common side effects include the desire to spank the wanker at the sight of a shirtless Chris Cuomo. Hey, it's me, Chrissy C. Those with extreme cases like Rob Manfred, they experience the side effects of public humiliation after jumping to conclusions and trying to appease the deacons at Woke United Methodist, only to realize what us normal people have known all along: the deacons are full of shit. We found out earlier this week that the allegations made against Trevor Bauer were completely fabricated. Now, of course, the mainstream media, they are doing everything they can to bury this story. Now, for those that don't know, Trevor Bauer, he was one of the many victims of the Me Too movement. That man just looked at me, I'm traumatized. Ooh, girl, me too. That man just asked for my phone number, I'm being harassed. Ooh, girl, me too. That lady with a beard just flashed me the dong and thong. I'm feeling so desired. Ooh, girl, me too. Now, I don't know too much about the Trevor Bauer situation. From what I was able to gather, he was guilty of violating the woke commandments. It is illegal for parishioners with a God-given cucumber to fornicate with natural birthing persons. Trevor Bauer, he spread his seed into some young woman. She used their late-night escapades and tried to extort him. She accused him of assaulting her. Now, there were no criminal charges filed, but that didn't stop Rob Manfred from overreacting and suspending Trevor Bauer for 324 games, 2 full seasons. All it took was an allegation. All it took was an accusation. One accuser, one accusation. And the Major League Baseball career of Trevor Bauer was completely ruined. Now, I don't know anything about Trevor Bauer, but I do know how much time and hard work and dedication it takes to make it to the big leagues. This dude worked his entire life to become a professional baseball player, and all it took was one accusation for his entire career to be ruined? I wonder if Rob Manfred jumping to conclusions and suspending Trevor Bauer, I wonder if it had anything to do with his political beliefs. Before all of this happened, Trevor Bauer was very active on social media. Back in 2016, he was vocally supportive of Donald Trump. Orange man bad. Now, obviously, that is no bueno. He doesn't believe in global warming. He believes climate change occurs 4 times a year and it's called seasons. Like I said, I don't know much about the situation, but I'm just wondering if his political beliefs had anything to do with Rob Manfred destroying his baseball career. So, the week started bad for Major League Baseball and got progressively worse. Tuesday, wild card round begins. For reasons unknown, Rob Manfred, he scheduled some of these games during the middle of the day. You know, this has never made sense to me. Major League Baseball, they have been doing this for a long time now. Your league is already struggling to draw an audience on television. Ratings for primetime games on TBS and ESPN this season were down significantly when compared to last year. And the ratings last year were in the pooper. I don't understand the logic here. I guess Rob Manfred is thinking, well, we're not drawing in prime time. Let's put our playoff games on in the middle of the afternoon on Tuesday and Wednesday. That will guarantee our nomination for the upcoming Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. At least that gives us a chance to win at something. Wild card round began with more negative publicity for Major League Baseball. First game of the playoffs taking place in Tampa. I would be willing to bet most people don't even realize that there's still a professional baseball team in Tampa. I know for certain that people living in Tampa don't know they have a team. This franchise can't draw polish to a stained turd. If it weren't for the D's in Oakland, I can't really call them the A's because there really ain't nothing good about this franchise, but if it weren't for Oakland, the Rays would be the biggest embarrassment in Major League Baseball. They can't draw crowds during the regular season. I have seen bigger crowds in the WNBA dump at the beginning of the month when woke welfare checks have been deposited and there's really no need to dig through the trash for scraps. I have seen bigger crowds in the dump than I have seen during the regular season in Tampa. But this is the playoffs. These are supposed to be the most important games of the season. And the Rays, they can't convince 20,000 people to come get a good nap. It was so quiet during those two games at Tropicana Field, you could hear the happy sounds of Don Lemon as they were squeezing his lemons at the concession stand. At one point, there was maybe a dozen people seated in a section that can hold several thousand. At one point, they wake up from their nap and they start booing the home team. They were mad. They were upset because one of the Rangers hit a home run and it woke them up. Now, normally when the home crowd is heard getting agitated, broadcasters, they will point it out to the viewers at home. They'll say something to the effect of, this sold out crowd doesn't like what they're seeing, something like that. Now, obviously, couldn't say that about the crowd in Tampa. Instead, one of the broadcasters said, there's a handful of people upset that they were woke up from their nap. Luckily, though, for Rob Manfred, most of the other wild card games were sold out. The problem is, it seems like there was more people in attendance than at home watching on television. These ratings are absolutely awful. Both games between the Rangers and Rays, they were broadcast on ABC. Now, this is a huge upgrade from opening games of the playoffs in past years. Normally, these games would be broadcast on FS1, where they were given a horrible lead-in by Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. This series averaged 2.2 million viewers, a million less than Phillies Cardinals last year. The most watched series in the wild card round was Marlins and Phillies. They averaged 3.1 million. Woohoo! But that was almost 500,000 less than Padres Mets last year. The Padres? The Padres are outdrawing the Phillies? Well, KC, that series featured the Mets. They're in the biggest media market in the country. Yeah, no one gives a shit about the Mets. New York is a Yankees town. Mets are not a big draw nationally. And I forgot the Padres even existed. Blue Jays, Twins, 1.8 million, which is about what the NBA averages during the regular season. There was another wild card series between the Diamondbacks and the Brewers that no one gave a shit about. They couldn't even generate interest in Milwaukee and Phoenix. Absolutely god awful. Let me ask you something. What is the excuse going to be now? I've heard all the excuses. For years, the bad ratings in Major League Baseball, they have been blamed on the networks. We're not given good time slots. We're on FS1 and TBS instead of ESPN and Fox or Fox and ABC. The bad ratings have been blamed on pace of play. I looked up the times for some of these wild card games. There were several games that were finished in less than 3 hours. The pace of play excuse had always kind of confused me. I never hear people complaining about pace of play in the NFL or the NBA. When NFL games go into overtime, people are generally excited. Broadcasters will happily announce we're getting free football. Major League Baseball game goes into extra innings, all you hear is a collective groan. You see the few hundred people in attendance running towards the exits to beat the anticipated traffic, which doesn't exist. What is the excuse going to be? Well, the wild card round featured teams in smaller markets this year. That's why it didn't draw ratings. Oh, yeah? Well, Rays Indians averaged 2.3 million last year on ESPN2. KC, you can't say Indians, that is offensive. You must address the team in Cleveland by their proper name. You must call them the Commanders. People in Cleveland don't care about the Guardians, but they managed to draw 2.3 million last year on ESPN2. The entire wild card round this season averaged 2.2 million, with the vast majority of these games airing on ABC and ESPN. Again, what is the excuse? Well, the games were scheduled during the middle of the work week. Last year, the wild card took place on the weekend. Well, whose fault is that? You know why Rob Manfred didn't start the playoffs on the weekend? He did not want to compete against football. He thought they could start during the middle of the week when no other sports were on television and build some momentum going into the divisional round. Instead, these ratings were a huge embarrassing failure, with baseball having no competition on TV. Like I've told you guys before, the biggest problem for Major League Baseball is that there's no solution for the problems in Major League Baseball. There's nothing that you can do to make this product appealing on television. This league is in trouble once their hardcore fan base reunites with Jesus. Major League Baseball, they have the oldest fan base in all of sports. The league does not appeal to young people. The pace of play excuse was just the symptom to the real problem. The real problem is this game is too slow. There's not enough action. There's not enough excitement. In basketball, there's always movement. There's always something going on. NFL nonstop. Even with regular TV, streaming services, they release all episodes of a series at one time instead of dragging it out across several months. People expect to be entertained immediately. Now, we can argue all day on whether or not that's a good thing, but it's reality. The truth is, Major League Baseball is not a TV-friendly product, and there's absolutely nothing they can do to change it. But give me your thoughts. Major League Baseball opens the postseason with poor attendance in Tampa and embarrassing ratings on television. Give me your reason. Why is baseball failing to draw an audience on TV? Also, what is your solution? How do you fix this problem? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate every one of you guys and your continued support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. Enjoy your NFL Sunday. I will see you guys tomorrow.